Steve, this way. Come on. This way, Steve. It's 40 degrees out. It's past 8 o'clock. We got to start our day. Come on, Steve. You come on, Steve. You come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Out the door. You were truant yesterday. What was the deal with that? Let's go. All right. It's Tuesday. Tuesday doesn't really have a feel, does it? It feels like you're halfway to Wednesday. Oh, interesting sky. We've got some, looks like pollution. I mean, I can smell diesel. A bit of an inversion happening here this morning, I think. It's interesting. Kind of a brown sky, isn't it? Alto cumulus. I don't see any sign of precipitation, although there are some echoes on radar. It has been snowing a little bit for the last 12 hours in New England. Z-Man in Savoy says, I was surprised by this snow. Like, Z-Man, don't you watch Out the Door, Weather and More with Steve and T-Rex and TK? We've been talking about it since like last Thursday. So this morning's first snow of the season. How many times have we said that? Did come as a surprise to many. And it was a little bit of an overachiever. Steve Turnblom in Shrewsbury, looking good. Now, what's really interesting is the same echoes, radar echoes of snow that came across Vermont and Massachusetts came right over my head last night, yet all we got were a couple of raindrops. The reason for that is our air came in off the ocean yesterday from the southeast. Wind is air moving from high to low pressure, so the high went offshore and that weak low came in to western New England. And our temperature here went up into the lower 40s. The water temperature's in the 50s. And not much came out of the sky. Or it came out of the sky, but then evaporated. You see, where you're colder away from the ocean, where you were in the 30s, you had evaporational cooling, but the difference between the temperature and the dew point was not as great, so you wrung out the precipitation. Here, with our temperature in the 40s and the dew point in the 20s, the differential between temperature and dew point was too great, and warm air holds more vapor, so we did not saturate the lower few hundred feet of the atmosphere. So most of what we got was virga. I could see it on my webcam over Boston last night. Virga being precipitation that comes out of the cloud and evaporates. So here at the shore, we always have to wait longer for our first snow. Yesterday, we just had our first heavy frost. So the firsts come last where I live. And we're going to have a new batch of cold air coming in here right now. T-Rex is going in circles. What's he doing? He's going to try and find a place. Steve's a little tangled. I want to do the weather. Steve, come on. There you go. All right, come on. Let's go over here. Steve, now you want to stay there? Just don't disappear on me, all right? Sorry. The high pressure is moving into the Great Lakes. It's going to be initially a cold high for us again. Temperature's going to go down again tonight with a frost and a freeze. And then we're going to get on the backside of that high. And then there's going to be a powerful low driving up into Canada. And that low is going to push warmer air back up into New England on Thursday into Friday. And we're going to have air warm enough for rain for most of New England here on Friday into Saturday. Now, there's a lot of moving parts here. If I show the really wide picture, first I want to say, though, that the Hurricane Center now has another red X in the Southern Caribbean. How many times have we seen these red X's in the last 4 weeks with the potential for Tropical Storm Vince, but it never happened. Anyhow, it looks like we're going to have something coming out of the Caribbean. So then I want to just show you the big picture freeze frame for Friday morning. We have a primary low way up in Hudson Bay, Canada. That pushes warm air in our direction with a cold front coming at us from southeastern Canada. We've got the low coming out of the Gulf of Mexico near the Bahamas, and we've got potential Tropical Storm Vince to the south of that near Hispaniola. All right, now I want to show you the map for Saturday afternoon, because when I put these in motion, it just goes by too fast. So I just want to show you the still shot Saturday afternoon. That primary low is way up in central Canada, and the front has gone by and is now merging with the low pressure system out of the Gulf of Mexico, but it's well to the east of New England. So the Gulf of Mexico is almost a non-impact event for New England. And then Tropical Storm Vince would be well east of Florida there, and that's going to race up probably close to Cuba. east of Cuba, close to Bermuda. That's what I was meaning to say. On Saturday night and Sunday. So Vince would be way off to our east, and we will have new cold air advection coming in here on the backside of that. So now I'm gonna put it in motion. I'm gonna show you the lower 48 here, and with our action coming at us here on Friday, there's a front in Canada, totally separate from the Gulf of Mexico system. Now they're starting to merge right after the front gets through New England on Saturday, and then the storms combine and move off to the north, and high pressure builds with a windy day on Sunday and cold, and they're in far right. That's tropical storm or post-tropical storm Vince racing out over the open ocean. That will probably be the end of the hurricane season. What's wrong, Rex? Are you tied around a rose? Is that rose gonna open? Like maybe I'll bring it inside and try, but the rose did get down into the 20s yesterday. And I said that the dill was gonna freeze. Well, the dill's still going, so I don't know what's going on with that. All right, and everyone's asking about Thanksgiving. What about Thanksgiving? It looks like a kind of a similar setup for Thanksgiving as we're going to have late this week. We're going to have, I'm going to show you the really wide picture now. You know, did I already mention that snow we had this morning? Parts of New England had DNA from the Alaska storm. Yeah, that was a piece of that Alaska historic storm of last week that raced across Canada and came across for New England this morning. Anyhow, most of the energy from that Alaska storm went over British Columbia, and that's still in British Columbia, and the rest of it went to the west of California. We talked about this, the bust for California snow. So if you watch that west of California low, that kind of disappears over the southwestern United States there in the lower left this weekend, then it reemerges over the Central Plains, and it powers back up, and it goes over the Great Lakes and into Ontario. So when a primary low goes into Ontario, even in wintertime, it's usually too warm for snow in New England. Now, there is going to be a secondary low trying to form right on Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday evening, but it looks like the rain-snow line on that as they start to merge is going to be pretty far north. I know my friends are talking about Sugarloaf next week. I don't know. I think that the rain-snow line on this one's going to be really far north, and then it will race by and be out of here for Thanksgiving Day. So the Euro on Thanksgiving Day has a nice northerly breeze with colder air coming back in. Looks dry. Looks good day for skiing, even though that it will be kind of a refreeze. Born from ice, ski the east. And then I really like the look of what happens, though, late next week after Thanksgiving, Friday into Saturday. I can show you a freeze frame on that one on, I think this is around Friday the 25th or so, or going into next weekend. You have a big, strong 1040-something high coming out of southwestern central Canada, and you have a low pressure system in the Central Plains. Now that one may try and scoot east and be close enough for more snow than rain in parts of New England here. Now we're talking about 11 or 12 days out, off beyond the scope of the 240-hour Euro. And I don't look at the GFS. I've heard a lot of teasing about the GFS and what it shows. I just don't want to get corrupted by that. So far, I like what the Euro is showing. I agree with most of it now. Even though, a couple weeks ago I was saying, don't believe it for next week, but that was last week, and we saw what happened. It was a really active week, and this morning, the Euro did a pretty good job forecasting that snow to come into New England last night and this morning, so it shouldn't be a surprise to most of us. There's some virga up there now. Yesterday was so nice. It was blue sky, glassy water in the morning, and then the sky turned gray, so I think I might have a snippet of that. And also, how about a time lapse of the sky yesterday? You can see those clouds coming in as the sun went down way early, and TK did not get his first flakes yet. So there'll be many more days where we say first flakes in New England, first flakes in New England. All right. Maybe I'm wrong on these next two systems, but oh yeah, and congratulations to Sunday River and Bretton Woods opening. So Maine and New Hampshire has lift to serve skiing today, and oh yeah, shot from Mount Mansfield, the snow stake. Stowe has announced, finally, they've announced that they're going to open on Friday. Hope to see you there. Inch and a half of snow at the Mount Mansfield snow stake. Well, not the high one, but the mid-level, mid-mountain one this morning. All right. And now then more and some time lapse, and talk to you later. It's a noisy one, all right. We know when you go by. That blue sky certainly turned gray quick enough today, didn't it? T-Rex and Steve just came out for the first time in a few days. Let's get some pent-up energy. What do you see, Steve? What do you see? Anyhow, it's kind of a snow sky. Looks like a rain sky too. Did we get some snow last night or did we not?